Hello everyone and welcome to WWE Discussion. I am your host and WWE enthusiast Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing NXT December 12, 2023 edition, and this was the edition after Deadline, and Deadline was a pretty solid pay-per-view for NXT, or premium event, to close out the year for NXT. Up next is Vengeance Day, but before Vengeance Day comes New Year's Evil. Already we have a NXT Women's Championship match along with a NXT Championship match set for that show. And well, for the first show on the road to New Year's Evil, the storytelling was there, but the in-ring action not so much. And well, I guess maybe not the in-ring action, but the storytelling certainly exceeded the in-ring action in this episode. And with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with Metaphor versus Josh Briggs, Brooks Jensen, and Fallon Henley. And this was a fun tag match that highlighted a country trio that have always overachieved with a spotlight. Well, Briggs and Henley lost the Deadline. They may have finally broken out. Briggs is looking great with the spotlight on him, while Henley is working at a top level with every woman. If NXT is moving on from Alpha Academy versus Metaphor, which it appears that it is, Briggs should be the next challenger for Dar, especially considering he pinned him to win this match. It'd be interesting to see what Briggs could do when given the chance to compete in a longer singles match. How would he do in a Heritage Cup match? I'd be intrigued to see how that one works out. North American Championship match, Dragon Lee versus Tyler Bate, and this was a fun battle. Dragon and Bate are so good that they can never be anything less than good in the ring. And while the two cannot sell the drama on the title defense, the action inside the ring more than made up for it. The big strong boy has run on stories to tell in NXT, so it's probably time to get him up to Raw or SmackDown, where he can compete with fresh rivals and build a new legacy. SmackDown might be the better brand for him, given his history with Butch. Leave the young stars of NXT to tell their own stories, and also let's do more open challenges from the Dragon Lee. He's a great in-ring worker and continues to get over more with each match, and it sounds like that is the plan that they have. Next week he defends the title against one member of Drew Gulak's faction, which will probably be Gulak himself if I had to guess. But yeah, Dragon Lee title defense is getting that dude compete on TV. That's a good thing. And Tyler Bate moving on to the main roster and pairing up with Butch. Yeah, why not? Lyra Valkiria, Nikita Lyons versus Cory, Jade, and Blair Davenport. And this was a well-booked tag team match, highlighting the two threats that Davenport and Jade pose to Valkiria. It was not all that involved in the ring, but kept the key stories moving. NXT is a dangerous balancing act to play with these four women, as NXT does not want to take away from Blair and Davenport's Iron Survivor win, but also wants to set the generation of Jade as the next challenger up. It is likely that Lyons could cost Davenport her shot, and then the story will transition from that to a rematch of Valkyria versus Jade. The next few weeks will be important in keeping the women's division keeping the momentum going for the women's division. So yeah, Nikita Lyons is back and already has her sights set on Blair Davenport, who has her sights set on the NXT Women's Championship, along with Cory Jade. So there's quite a bit happening here, and even though NXT might not be intending to overshadow, and even though NXT may not be intended to overshadow Blair Davenport's Iron Survivor win, they pretty much did. So it is entirely likely that Nikita Lyons ends up costing Blair Davenport her title shot as a cop-out, and then pretty much you move Davenport on from that title match to Davenport versus Lyons, and then Jade gets her title shot. Now, can you stretch that all out past New Year's Day? I guess we shall see. But yeah, Davenport, she got a nice win at Deadline, but ultimately she hasn't really been built up as a credible challenger. So even though, it's unlikely that she wins, because again, she just hasn't been built up as a credible challenger. And then to close out the show, Ilya Dragonov and Trick Williams confrontation featuring Carmelo Hayes, and the drama in the NXT Championship scene. It might be a bit silly, but it does continue to build up Trick each step of the way. Melo looks guiltier than ever before, and Dragonov's inclusion does leave Trick completely conflicted. He is conflicted in that he doesn't know whether to believe his best friend or someone he respects and trusts in Dragonov, and he has to find a way to refocus before New Year's Evil. The crowd seems invested in where this is leading. I'm quite curious as to where this is leading, and even though this is corny at times, the story is working, and the rest of the storytelling in NXT should kind of take notice and try to step up to that level. So Dragonov had a great retort here, which is, did Carmelo Hayes actually get attacked, or did he fake that injury? Yes, Alexis King pretty much is out of the picture right here. Dragonov, in a way, does make sense, but given his current character, it's unlikely that it's him, and now everything points back to Carmelo Hayes. So when does and if it is Carmelo Hayes, when does that reveal happen? Does it happen before New Year's Evil? Does it happen at New Year's Evil? There's quite a bit of intrigue with this story and where it all goes, even if it is a bit silly at times. So in conclusion, NXT storytelling eclipsed its in-ring action this week, building right off deadline into New Year's Evil. The pieces are coming together to deliver some of NXT's biggest stories to date. So much work has been done to elevate new stars over the last year, and it is paying off. A story like Hayes, Williams, and Dragonov are telling right now will not have worked if all three get it over in the second half of the year. That is to say that NXT's main event scene is in good shape. The rest of the card, though, is uneven. Lee versus Bate was the in-ring highlight of the night, but did not reach its highest potential. Valkiria is the star of the women's division with interesting challengers, but the stories of Davenport and Jade as challengers have not fully landed. Dijak and Eddie Thorpe realized each other, but the constant brutality of every feud with Dijak might be wearing thin if the final match between these two does not land, and actually doesn't become a final match. Well, not final, but like final for the time being. The men's breakout tournament has not started off on the right foot, but it does have the potential to elevate some new intriguing names. Briggs, Jensen, and Henley look to be on the rise, but NXT doesn't look like NXT has fully committed to them, but NXT has not committed to them enough in the past so I guess we'll see if that has changed. Maybe it has. It looks like it has. But either way, each of these stories and more have potential. But until NXT kind of gets everything on track, the quality of the in-ring quality will still define the major fact of the show week to week. And with that, I will conclude this episode of NXT or WWE Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below.